Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is the second of the Indiana Jones movies. The movie was directed by Steven Spielberg and released in 1984. Temple of Doom grossed almost $180 million, making it the third highest grossing film of that year. Indiana Jones was one of my most beloved franchises as a kid. Recently I bought the entire collection of Blu-ray and decided to watch them again. Before watching Temple of Doom, I stumbled upon an article on the website failblue.com titled Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is a very racist and sexist. So I asked myself the question, is Temple of Doom really racist? This article starts off by stating that the Indian government denied permission to shoot in India. This is actually true. Screenwriter Willard Huyck once stated, "At one point when we were writing, we told George, we know a lot of Indians. We've been there. I don't think they're going to think this is really cool. Do you think you're going to have some trouble shooting there?" George then said, "Are you kidding? It's me and Steve." Months later they called and said, "We can't shoot in India." They're really upset. To be honest, I can fully understand the decision of the Indian government. I will admit some parts in the movie are actually racist, but we'll get to that, so let's start off with the list. Warning. If you get triggered easily by ignorance and hypocrisy regarding racism and sexism, I suggest you turn off this video. If you're like me and like to prove people wrong, I suggest you keep watching. Number 1. Shanghainese gangsters are laughing because they poisoned Indy's wine, so in exchange for the antidote they get to keep both the artifact and his payment. This is of course an example of the devious East Asian person trope, since we're supposed to be shocked that they would be so dishonorable. They cackle madly. Right off the bat, this is bullshit. If you actually pay attention to the scene, it's clear that the gangsters already tried to take Narachi from Indy.
You know I did. Last night one of your boys tried to get Narachi without paying for him.
You have insulted my son.
No, you've insulted me.
Later, they poison Indy's wine to get the diamond back.
The poison you just drank up.
It is true that the gangsters are dishonorable, but it has absolutely nothing to do with them being Asian. The Indiana Jones franchise is known for taking the viewer to exotic places. This scene just happened to take place in Shanghai. The gangsters just happen to be local. The only reason it is in Shanghai and not anywhere else is because the plot requires our main characters to travel to India. It would be stupid to have Indy trading with Americans in China, so no, this is not racist. Number 2. In the brawl that ensues, Indy is desperately trying to get the antidote to save his life. Meanwhile, Willie is desperately trying to find a diamond because women, am I right? Okay, half of this list is shit like this, so I'm briefly going to be describing Willie's character to make my points easier. Willie Scott is a woman who is very keen on wealth. She sings in a bar for rich people, goes out with rich friends, buys expensive beauty products, and she's very protective of her image and looks. Her role in the movie is comic relief. She's used to a life of luxury and gets thrown into an almost primitive lifestyle. Once again, this has nothing to do with her gender. The reason she's a woman is for Indy to have a love interest. The exact same thing would happen if you threw Jake Paul in this movie. He would also want to go back and party with his rich friends and be protective of his appearance, so no, this is not sexist. Number 3. Willie's mad because she lost a gun and broke a nail. Once again, this is Willie's character. She's not mad because she's a woman, but because she didn't want to be thrown in this situation. She was just doing her job when suddenly a shootout happens, and the only reason she's in the car with Indy is because she had the antidote. Number 4. One of my fucking favorites. I'm not even gonna read this out loud because I think it's so fucking ridiculous, but they basically make a point that the Chinese wall is in the picture, and that's like the only fucking way to let the audience know they're in China. And it's not cool. Have you ever seen any movie ever made when a scene takes place in Paris, the filmmaker shows the Eiffel Tower? This is just a nice transitional shot between scenes that helps structure the movie. Every indie movie does this. It's ridiculous that you'd even care. Number 5. They crash land and are adrift The shot is accompanied by ominous music. They are being watched by a brown person. This must be dangerous, the movie is telling us. On the side of this mysterious stranger, Shorty lets out a yelp. And Willie falls over in the raft. What's so scary? This guy apparently. If you watch it, the movie is definitely setting up the audience to have the same reaction. Okay, so this is once again bullshit. The fact that the man is Indian is not related at all to the reaction of the characters. Anyone could have said anyone, and I mean anyone. The scene would have played out exactly the same. If you look at him, he is actually quite respectful by adapting the foreign culture. The only reason this person is Indian is because the plot requires him to be Indian. Number 6. No comment needed. The villagers in this scene are desperate because of the food shortage and, oh yeah, all the fucking children were kidnapped by a death cult. A prophecy told them that someone would come to the village and save them. It's just their way of worshipping what they think is their savior. Number 7. Willie is disgusted at the idea of eating the food the village offers. Indy has to tell her she must or she's insulting their host. It's a blend of racism and sexism because it's set up so that we're supposed to both find food gross and laugh at Willie for being such a princess at the same time. Women, am I right? Indiana Jones is an archaeologist who travels around the world frequently. He's used to eating all sorts of food. Willie is, as I said, used to a luxurious lifestyle. Imagine yourself being in her place. No matter if you're a man or a woman, black or white, you would be disgusted too. As for the racism, Indy acknowledges how hospitable the village is. He's showing respect and obliges Willie to do the same thing.
You're insulting them and you're embarrassing me. Eat it.
Number 8. Willie is complaining that her life was really nice in Shanghai. She had a good circle of friends, and they went to parties all the time.
I was happy in Shanghai. In a little house. And a garden. My friends were rich. We went to parties all the time in limousines. I hate being outside.
Women, am I right? I already explained this, I feel like I'm repeating myself. Number 9. Indy tells Shorty that the most annoying thing about Willie is the noise.
The biggest trouble with her is the noise.
Women, am I right? Hashtag not all misogynist tropes. She does make an annoying noise. However, the noise is not due to the fact that she's a woman. Number 10. Willie runs around the camp, stumbling onto wildlife and shrieking, which is supposed to be played for laughs. It's worth noting that in the same scene, Indy gets the living shit scared out of him by Willie accidentally flinging a snake into the campsite.
I said, cut it out!
His reaction is manly and reasonable. And not all. It is an object of mockery. Okay, this is fucking ridiculous. I feel like I don't need to explain this, but I'm going to anyway. There's a running gag in all the 4 Indiana Jones movies that Indy is scared to death of snakes. His reaction is not manly but funny, because it's a gag. Willie is scared because she's never seen or be exposed to this wildlife before. It's not because she's a woman. Number 11.
Wow. Snake. Surprise. But you're not eating?
I had bugs for lunch.
Chilled monkey brain.
Okay, I'll admit this shit is pretty fucking racist. Number 12. Willie is unwilling to put her hand in a hole full of insects to pull a lever and save Indy and Shorty's life. She has to be convinced because women! Am I fucking right? I'm a man and I'd be scared to death to put my hand in such a hole. Moving on. Number 13. The animalistic POC mob trope. It's an evil death cult. How are you supposed to portray them? Number 14. Willie's eyes light up at the mention of diamonds found inside the Shankara stones.
The legend says when the rocks are brought together, the diamonds inside them will glow.
Diamonds? Diamonds. Diamonds? Diamonds.
Because diamonds are women, am I right? I'm not even gonna fucking explain this one. Number 15. Under the spell of the blood of Kali, the Maharaja prepares to burn an effigy of Indy and magically hurt him. The glee on his face is sublime, fulfilling the sadistic Oriental trope. It is not a sadistic Oriental trope, he's literally possessed by the blood of Kali. That same blood of Kali is used to possess Indy, a white American man who becomes as evil as the Maharaja. You know why? Because they're both possessed by the same fucking evil thing. Number 16. The kids kidnapped from the village by the Duckies, slave day and night digging at the mountain. Then the moment Shorty gets imprisoned there, he realizes that he can just use the pig to break his chains and escape. Because of course Indian kids are incapable of thinking and are just sheep and don't mind servitude, right? Here, goaded on by Indy, they finally start to fight back against their taskmasters. So okay, first of all, this argument is false. In the beginning of the movie, we see an Indian kid who escaped from Pankot Palace, so yeah, apparently they can't think of an idea. Secondly, the captured children don't have the energy to try and escape. Short Round was in China just 2 days before, and a couple of hours before he ate a whole meal. These children probably had little to no food in days, so they simply don't have the energy for an escape attempt. Finally, when Indy comes along, he actually fights the guards, giving the children an opportunity to escape, which they take. When their chains are loose, they actually fight their guards and overpower them. Number 17. Mullah Ram throws someone from the bridge. It's supposedly to try and knock off Indy, but the glee in his face is perfect sadistic Oriental. Mullah Ram is the leader of an evil death cult. He is pure evil and will do everything to get rid of Indy. This has nothing to do with his race, I mean come on. He literally pulled someone's heart out earlier. Number 18. This one doesn't make any sense. Okay, so the article ends by stating that the idea that the stereotypes were somehow necessary to make it a success implied that there isn't enough creativity. Are you serious right now? You're talking about the lack of creativity. You know that the movie is made by Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, two of the most creative movie-making minds in history. In conclusion, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is not a racist movie. There are some mildly racist jokes here and there, but they don't affect the plot or message of the movie in any way. I think the article was written by someone who saw the dinner scene and thought, wait a minute, this is rather offensive. I should nitpick everything that would be racist or sexist. Anyway, I highly suggest you to go and revisit the Indiana Jones movies. It's one of my favorite franchises and rewatching it just made me remember how much I love them. Leave a comment if you thought I was right or wrong and make sure to tune in next time. Bye.